Hello, welcome to VibeCoding Like a Champ with me, Paul Pinto, your host. And today we're going to work a little bit with the code that Claude, because I'm using Claude CLI, has produced to us, and see if they have any problems and how can we solve the problems. I'm going to run right away a prompt that will show us a little bit what we're going to do. And I'm going to show you this prompt, and I'm going to show you what is the problem that we're trying to solve. This is the prompt here, and I'm going to show what we're trying to solve with the code here. This is a code in our services, in our API project. And you're going to see that, for example, we are here on the exercises service, and we have it here, apart from being a very long method that we're going to try to reduce this as much as possible. Not with we're not going to do this in one refactor only. When the refactor here now will be, we're using this now let me just close this because I forgot to close this. What we're doing here is in every service we should access one repository and one repository only. If we need to access information from different repositories, we should at least access to the service of that repository. It means that in this case, we are in the repository, in the exercise service, we should access the exercise repository. But if you go a little bit down here, you're going to be able to see that I access other repository directly from this method, and this should not be allowed. In this case, what you should do here is inject the service from the exercise type, and then in the exercise type should use that repository. That is the major refactor that we're going to do now. But we have other situations, and the other situation, for example, is with the authentication service. Why are we going to have a transaction? It means that I'm going to need to share my my unit of work, in this case my writable unit of work, because I have 2 units of work. I can create 2 units of work, one that gets writable, that I'm going to be able to save information, and the other will be a readable unit of work that will be only to make select to the queries to the database. Why I have the difference? But when I make select and when I make queries to the database, I don't want to keep tracking of those changes of that queries. And if you have the writable, I want to have this track of these tables, in order for when I commit, I can be able to update and insert or make all the changes to all these tables. And then in this case, you're going to see that first of all, I'm using here this unit of work repository just to make a query. This should not be valid in this refactor that I'm going to do, because this should be called a method that uses its own readable unit of work. Then I'm going to be able to use the unit of work, the writable unit of work, to add this, pass to the claim service, where I'm going to be able to then receive the unit of work, the writable unit of work, and then obtain the repository and add it. And then in the end, I will be able just to make one commit in this from this method. And that is the idea that comes out of all of these, all these refactors that we are doing. It's basically to reuse a little bit of the code, and then in the end we're going to document all of this, and make sure that everything that we are doing in the future will be documented to not repeat it again. This is the kind of code that we're going to be able to see from a junior developer, and we as a senior should be able to look to this and nah, don't do this way, do more in this way, and then we document, and then the junior will never do it again. I always see this the AI and the Claude, in this case the Claude CLI, as my junior developer, where it's going to make mistakes. The code quality is not going to be great from the beginning, but all over the time I'm going to be able to teach Claude or any other CLI, teach to do the code, write the code the way that I would like them to write, and they will be able to do that. But I need to always look to it and accept it or not accept it. This doesn't mean that these AIs are not intelligent. They are. They have some level of intelligence. But even if they know that this should not be allowed, but this works, yes, they're going to do it the easier path possible. They don't have what we have in our head, and we need to guide them to do the code the way that we would like. Let's see now how it goes. Our prompt. Let's see. He's going to be able to see that we're going to create a document with the service layer, layer refactor, see the repository file. And it's going to try to create already this architecture pattern, see all the examples of it, violations and implementation strategy, and so on, migration. Yes, we can do it. We can go for this. Let me just not do it right now. I'm just going to call it, tell the code not to do it differently. And let's try to do just a little bit different here. Let's go to say that you should create already a feature out of this. Can you create follow the memory bank dot feature to process and memory bank feature underscore and create a feature, a comprehensive feature out of this task. And let's see now how he's going to do this. I'm expecting it's going to be quite fast. Let's take a look. I'm going to try to start to creating this feature. Of course, we're going to create in submit folder. This is everything that is in our feature implementation and workflow files to teach it, to tell us how do we want to create this. And let's see how we're going to be able to finish this. Let's see that we'll create the feature 020 service layer single rule repository. And let's see the outcome of this. I'm going to make pause and I'll come back in a second. Okay, we're back. He's already said that you want to create this, and this will be the file that you want to create. Let's say that we accept all of this, and we're going to take a look through the to the Visual Studio Code. He's going to be able first. Here will be the description of it. Now he's going to create it. Let's see here the feature 20 will be the feature description with all the changes, business value, what is the business value of this change, what is the user story that we want to create. This is just a description. Now out of this we're going to create the tasks, and the tasks are going to go for the implementation, and this is the acceptance criteria of all of this. The current violation that he found it. For example, we should create all this service that we don't have it yet. Having in consideration the transactional, like I already told, all these things, I think that this should look. Let me just say that plan mode accept all. Let's. Now he's already started to create all the tasks and plan it, and we're going to be able to start all the implementation. Let me pause here and come back in a second. Oh, it's already done. Okay, it's already done. He already found this is the violation that we have. It means that we have violations in our code that can go against our architecture, and then we can start to see how we want to implement. And here, everything is here. He already updated all the information here, and now we can be able to say, okay, let's create the tasks. This is more or less the process that I have to create initially the feature. I'm not going to read this. You can go there and read. I already know what is going to create. But of course, when we do this, we should read all the features. If everything that is there is what we want to implement, otherwise we can come back and say, add this, add more this, add more that to to the features, and he's going to implement it. Let's say, okay, I like what you've done. You have done. Please let's refine the feature 020 was the name, right 20. Refine, let's write it correctly. Refine, add the tasks, feature tasks according with the. It's always good to do this memory, because sometimes you will forget things. Is feature implementation and memory feature to workflow, and move to the ready to develop folder. Okay, let's continue. It's always good that when we move any step, and if we found any process, in this case is implementation process, it's always good to say read it again, because you don't know what is the size right now of the context window that we have. Maybe you already put it something out. There will be so much things that you're gonna forget. To make sure, it's always good that we say we'll read again. Make sure that you are following the right process. Don't start to hallucinate and do any other thing. Sometimes it happens, but go read again, make sure that you follow the process and so on, is always the safe bet for in this case. Let's then wait a little bit. It's going to be able to, it's still creating here the tasks file. I'm going to pause the video and come back in a second when the task file is again, it's already writing. Maybe it will be done in a second. It's way faster than I thought. Let's wait then. It's already moving to ready to develop. Let's see where it is. This file doesn't exist anymore. And now let's go to the ready to develop. I closed this by mistake. Ready to develop. Now we have here our tasks file with everything that is, of course, all these tasks file is created based on a process, and you're going to create all these checklists in order to remember, build, make sure that everything is built, no warnings, all the tests are green, and otherwise you cannot move to the next phase, and so on. This is the part that is important. Here is more or less the time that we're gonna need to have to all this development according with him. Let's see what is the best estimation of it. It's around 16 hours of refactor. I believe that probably even by hand, I think I could do it a little bit faster, but I don't know. I'm not need to commit any of those things. Okay, let's see. Let's start the implementation. Please do not forget to follow the memory bank feature underscore process, workflow process, and memory bank dot feature to underscore implementation process. Let's start the implementation. And what it's going to do here is, I think that what you're going to do is create a branch for this, and you will copy everything to in progress. Let's just take a look at everything they're going to do. See, this is part of all the document. It's going to move to in progress, create a branch, feature branch, run the baselines to make sure that everything, when we started, all the tests are passed, the build is running with no warnings and so on, just to make sure that we cannot start it if we're not going in that direction. I'm going to pause it here and we come back to see the result of the implementation of this feature soon. Okay, the first phase is done. All this, the new service, the body part service, the exercise type, and claim service that was missing from the initial implementation are done. It's going to continue now to refactor the muscle group service in order to use this. But what I would like to show you is if you come here to the graph, is what he did it in the meantime. For example, he create the body part, create the interface, he check in, he create the body part service. I'm going to show now it's way smaller. All this service now way smaller with his own unit of work, and then he create the test for it, and he create already several tests that I find that they are okayish. They're using mock. They are verifying the calls. They are verifying when you want to call, how many times, what should be the result, and so on. I think that for this point now we are removing even tests from the exercises and put it here. Then now we're going to be able to reuse the code. I think this is fantastic. This is more or less the code that I would do it by myself. If it is not, I would be able to stay to the AI and say to the Claude and say, I don't like the test this way. I like you to write this way. Now, can you apply this formula to every test? And this is the good part of this, that it will be much easier, and I don't need to go now me going to do all the refactor. I can ask him to do it for myself. From now on, I will just wait until the end of all the refactor, and then we can come and see the result. See you in a second. Oh, well, everything is done now. All the refactor is completely done. I just want to show you a few of the tests that were refactored. For example, this one we remove the AI removed the service exercise type repository mode, not use it anymore, and now we are using through the exercise type service, and you'll be able to see that everything now he added to create some kind of mocking result, and then later we replace, instead of returning the mock experience with the repository, now using with the service. Everything now is green. Still everything, no changes were made in the behavior, only this small thing. After this there was another commit just to remove all the repositories, um, and let me just remove this, or remove all the repositories because they are, or at least the unused repositories, and now using only this services. You can see now everything now is the service, and the repository was removed, because initially it was just added to the service, not removing the repository. Then we have just to remove it. Everything looks, there was here another thing that I would like to show you. Maybe I need to find it in the documentation. And if you come here to the architecture refactoring, this was this initiative, and it was where is the other one? It was another one. Now I forgot where it is. Let me just find it. Integration testing. No reference tables, features. Now I don't remember. Let me see if it is doing the 20. No, what it is? Because he created already some documentation about all of this release process. Service layer. Here is going to tell for the future how we should create the service layer. For example, you're going to tell us, let's go to the top. You're going to tell to the top that what is incorrect. For example, this is a violation of this pattern. This is how we should do it, the correct part. And instead of doing this, you should now use the service instead of creating several repositories. And a little bit validation that will be, and for transactional, how are we going to use it? For example, now we're going to use it to edit, and we're going to receive the unit of work in this, because this is going to be called by the authentication. The authentication. This one receive the unit of work, will create, edit, and doesn't commit here because it'll commit by the caller. And here you're going to see that we create the writable. We create the user repository that's going to be used here. We use the claim service to do what we need to do here, and then this is where we commit. Everything now continues to work as expected. I have it here an example how to see this. If we continue to run, I'm just going to add it here to the squad, that the squad will be a compound exercise, save, everything continues to work as expected. This was a very successful refactor. It took us around, let's see, 20, the description that will be on tasks, that took around 45 minutes out of 16 that it was estimated. I think 16 was a little bit too much. I think we could do it in a little bit and less than that, but all the documentation, all the reviews, all the maybe 2 days will be the refactor, or the time for at least 1 day, around 1 day should be, and we could do it in much less than that. In 45 minutes we're able to do all of this, all this refactor. The conclusion of this is already taking a very big video episode. It's all about how we do it. This is the AI is still a junior developer. We need to tell him everything that we want to do it, how we want to do it. Otherwise, he will do it the way that he thinks that we should do it. And sometimes those ways are not the right way of doing, but sometimes we'll make it even more complicated. For example, now we have a lot of the tests are not very easy to maintain. I just give this as an example here on the claim service. For example, we have always this creating of these mocks. I don't agree with this. Every time that we need to change anything, it will fail because every test rely on this. You can see here on the service test, for example, all the tests are rely on this. And if for some reason we want to have different values here, that will create problems in our test. Each test is not fully contained. We could improve that, and I will make some refactor in one of these classes to tell him, please, this is the pattern that I want, please do it for everything, and let's see how it goes. And this will be a refactor that will come in the future also. I hope that it was enlightened. I think that everyone got a little bit more information about how this vibe coding is, how that AI in this case is good to help us, but it's not more than just a junior developer that doesn't know how we want to do it, and we have to tell him every time in every step, now that is not the way that we want to do it, this way. As soon as he knows and is documented, we're going to be able to repeat the same pattern over and over again. And this is the good part about development. We work a little bit based on the patterns, and if we can tell to the AI what are the patterns that we want him to follow, he will follow always those patterns. Now, when we need to do some creative work, that's different. This is our part. We should do it by ourselves. But then after the creative work is done, or the initial work is done, then we can say, okay, this is a pattern I want to do it. Do it now for all the tables that we have. Do it the same way for everything. That is the power of AI. This is something that AI really can help us during the development process. I stay from here. I see you in the next episode of VibeCoding Like a Champ. Thank you.